morning. Good morning, everybody. It is 8 o'clock on the dot on a Thursday morning. It is January the 30th. Rise and shine, rise and shine. This is Coffee Talk. We get together 7 days a week, chat about what's going on in the world of weather, hopefully getting your day started off on the right note. It is beautiful outside. It's a little foggy in spots. Let me take you outside. This is Ocala on our Tower Cam network. Definitely watching the fog in this location, whereas some of our other Tower Cam shots, not necessarily seeing the same thing. Let me take you, as a matter of fact, over to the shoreline. Let's see what's doing over in Port Canaveral. And it's a very different story there. The west side of town has the fog. Here's the east side of town with clear skies. It's gorgeous. And then, of course, into downtown Orlando, you can kind of see some layer of clouds, but really and truly, it's a lovely, lovely start. Dense fog advisories in effect, again, for our western areas. And as a matter of fact, when I was talking to you yesterday on Wesh 2 News, this is exactly what I was saying. The idea of there will be some fog, but essentially in our western areas. So that checks out. And you can see Lake County, Sumter County, Marion County, dense fog advisories in effect until 10 a.m. When we look at the visibility numbers across town, you know what? They're really not looking too bad. It's a little foggy in spots west of town. Right here, I'll dial that up for you, as a matter of fact. Visibility. All right, here's the visibility numbers for you. And again, Leesburg down to nothing, Ocala near nothing. That's at the airport. Remember, when we were just looking at downtown Ocala, that's not where the official reporting station is. It's elsewhere, right? There's Wildwood down to near nothing. And if we look at the ceiling, you're going to notice the low cloud deck as well in those same spots. Clouds down to 100 feet in Leesburg, down to 200 feet in Ocala. Elsewhere, things are looking good. And I mean, I'm at the Orlando Sanford International Airport right now, and I can tell you things are certainly nice and quiet here. It's actually quite beautiful. It's really quite beautiful. Although there's nobody flying yet. I don't know what the deal is. All right, temperatures out the door, 55 degrees in Orlando, 48 in Leesburg, 47 degrees in the Villages. It's 45 in Palm Coast. And the forecast today really looks nice. Look at this, 68 degrees by 11 o'clock, 75 1 p.m., and 77 degrees will be our high temperature. It's going to be a gorgeous, gorgeous day. Really looking forward to it. If you've got plans today to be out and about, I highly suggest you take advantage and soak in some of that sunshine. It's really going to be lovely. Nikki, good morning to you. David, good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing? A nice breeze out of the east-southeast, about 10 miles an hour or so. Can't go wrong with that, right? I like it. I love it. I want some more of it, right? Frankie, good morning to you. Tim says, I'm not late today. Woohoo! Love that, right? All right, so today's forecast is looking fantastic. Before we get any more into the weeds, let's just check out our city-by-city temperatures. Above average, 73. We have now climbed to 73 as our average high temperature, and you'll see we're well above that today. 77 in Orlando, 79 in the Villages. Along the shoreline, not quite as warm. It's about 70, 71 degrees from Flagler to Volusia, into the low to mid 70s back over to Brevard County. So that's a beautiful forecast, a really beautiful forecast. Karen, good morning. Just listening today. Wishing you all a spectacular day. Love you, Karen, and love all of you as well. Good morning. Good morning. I love it. Nikki says, hubby Kiddo and I are going to see Toby Mac at the Kia Center. Is it bad that I don't know who Toby Mac is? That's just a me not being cool thing. That's all. That's all. Oh, well. Oh, well. Carbon Fiber says, wouldn't mind if this persisted. I agree with that. 100% agree with that. And as a matter of fact, let's take a look at our 7-day forecast, because if you want this to persist, let's just take a look. All right. Yeah. 77 today, 83 degrees tomorrow. The record for tomorrow in Orlando is 86. So we're not expecting to get to a record level, but that's going to be a warm day. 83 in Orlando. And we'll look at some other temperatures in a couple of moments, but 83 tomorrow. Saturday and Sunday, even into Monday, can't rule out a quick passing shower. Temperatures in the 70s, and then look into next week, right? Back into the upper 70s and lower 80s. So if you're a fan of this, I certainly am a fan of this. If you're a fan of this and you want this to persist, I'm super happy to say that's kind of what we're looking like. I think that this is going to persist. We are looking fantastic. Above average temperatures, looking really, really good. When we talk about temperatures tomorrow, all right? So today's Thursday. Here's tomorrow. Here's our forecast numbers. Here's the records. Not expecting to get records, but we're at least going to be into the ballpark, right? 83 degrees is our forecast tomorrow in Orlando. Record is 86. 82 in Sanford. Record is 86. Which, by the way, it's funny. I'm literally sitting at the Orlando Sanford International Airport right now, and I'm like, where is the weather station here? Like, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at one of the runways. I'm like, it'd be kind of funny just to look. So anyway, there's that. So anyway, we're talking about warm temperatures for tomorrow. Here's our Friday readings. Here's our Friday high temperature. So 83 in Orlando, about 78 in Daytona Beach. So it's, again, we're not expecting to talk record numbers, but it's going to be a warm enough day. It's going to be a lovely, lovely day. And then, of course, into the weekend. For your weekend plans, happy to report that things are looking pretty good too. Yeah, we'll have a shower or two. No big deal. We'll have a shower or two. We can handle that. But yeah, tomorrow's high temperature of 83 degrees would make tomorrow the warmest day we have seen since the day after Christmas. So you're talking about the warmest day we have seen in over a month. I personally am here for that. I've gotten to the point of winter where I'm kind of done with winter. I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one, right? So anyway, there we go. Temperatures, upper 70s, lower 80s. You gotta love it. Super excited about it. Crystal's asking, are the cold weather days over for us? I don't think they're over. I think we're going to have a couple more cold fronts, but the trend absolutely looks nice and warm for us. Catherine says, Chamber of Commerce weather. Pro Bowl will finally have a great day for football. So much going on in Central Florida. There is so much going on in Central Florida. There really is. It's a beautiful, beautiful weekend. Yeah, I definitely think that the trend is going to continue for us. As a matter of fact, and I put this together yesterday, the Climate Prediction Center is showing basically through mid-February, much of the South above average in terms of temperatures, and that absolutely does include us here in Central Florida. So yeah, I definitely think we're looking at some really nice weather. Really nice weather. If you're a fan of this sort of thing, right? If you're not, you'll have to go elsewhere. What is today? Today's Thursday. Let's look and see kind of our Thursday forecast on a national plane. Okay. Here's our Thursday forecast. All right, so you got some storms through St. Louis, some snow out into Colorado. If you're looking for something different, I think we're gonna be pretty okay here in Central Florida. So let's enjoy what we've got. What do they say? Enjoy the weather because it's the only weather you got, right? Look at that Pro Bowl forecast this weekend. Finally, some great weather. We've got Mardi Gras over at Universal. T-Plane performing. Concert starts at 8:30 on Saturday. It's going to be great. What else do we have? We have the Mount Dora Arts Festival this weekend, the Zora Neale Hurston Festival this weekend. So much going on around Central Florida. There's the LPGA Tournament of Champions. Like, come on. How do we live in such a cool place? Any one of those events is a big deal in any other city, but only in Central Florida is it like, oh yeah, you can go look this direction, you can go look this direction. There's so much going on. Only in Central Florida do we get that kind of fun, right? Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. So how we doing? Everybody good? Are y'all good? I know I'm good. I'm loving this. Everybody good? Questions, comments, concerns? Frank's got an open house on Sunday. That's exciting. Don't forget the market I'm doing in Port Orange this Saturday. Are you? Are you? That sounds fun, Debbie. I love it. Tired and I need a nap. All right. I can feel you there. I'd go for a nap too. My kids didn't wake me up last night, which is a rarity. If you can be with the weather you want, love the weather you're with. Oh, that's funny. Love the one you're with. I love that. Very good. So we're doing good. I will tell you, Mike's asking if I watched Groundhog Day yet. No, maybe I'll put it on in the Weather Center while I'm working today. I'm working hard on the long range forecast. That's my project right now. Charles says, prayers for those affected by the flight tragedy at Reagan Airport. Indeed. I woke up this morning and I looked at my phone. It had 53 text messages. I'm like, oh dear God. And then as I started to look, I was like, oh man, so sad. So if you're unfamiliar, there was a CRJ 700 that collided with a United States Army Black Hawk last night in the Washington, D.C. area. Now, that's some of the most complex airspace in the country, with the restricted area right over the district, and with the approaches over the Potomac heading into the runways at Washington Reagan Airport. And certainly, I'm not going to theorize on what happened here, but just looking at some ADS-B data, listening to some of the air traffic control data, it sounds like the CRJ 700, which I have some uniquely extensive experience understanding the systems of the CRJ 200, 700, and 900, because prior to meeting my wife, my relationship was with someone who had trained in to fly the CRJ 200, 700, and 900. So I'm not going to say that I'm typed in the aircraft, not at all. But I did study a lot on the ground on this aircraft. Very capable aircraft, especially the 700 and the 900. 200 not so much. I mean, it is, but it's not the same league. But essentially, you've got an aircraft heading into final approach into Reagan and a Black Hawk that was told to basically maintain visual separation. So the onus for collision avoidance then goes into the Black Hawk. My concern is at night, over the water, could they have mistaken this aircraft for that aircraft, that sort of thing. And then to kind of add insult to injury, because the CRJ was so low, the TCAS alerts, traffic collision avoidance system, um, a lot of them get muted below 1,000 feet for various reasons, and so they wouldn't have had a conflict resolution in that moment. So it's a tragedy. But the one thing, that's getting into the weeds, and I don't need to get into the weeds too much more. But what I would say is, for anybody, and we all fly, whether it's flying yourself or whether it's riding in the back of a jetliner, understand that the aviation community never takes a situation like this lightly, and never ever walks away without learning, growing. And so they're going to look at this and say, what do we need to do to try and step up safety? The NTSB, the FAA, certainly the military, everybody's going to be looking at this. The tragedy is only exacerbated by this idea that, in addition to the idea of the air temp, I mean, it's 40 degrees at DCA, at Washington Reagan. Water temperatures there in the Potomac are in the mid 30s. So you've got 15, 20, 30 minutes for hypothermia to set in. So even if somehow miraculously someone survived this collision, unfortunately, you'd be rendered essentially unconscious, unable to move in such a very short order. So this truly, truly, truly is a tragedy, on so many levels. So yeah, my thoughts, my prayers go to everyone, from the air traffic controller to the passengers to the pilots and crew. It's just so sad. And I, to be 100% truthful with you all, I don't love, I am not night current. So, I fly. I don't fly at night. I don't like flying at night. It just adds a level of difficulty that I personally don't love. Um, so to that point, you know, I don't. I will ride as a passenger certainly at night, but when it comes to flying, it just adds another level that I don't personally want. Now, when I'm working on my commercial rating, I'll have to do it, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, so all I would say is we have to understand that There will be lessons learned, and this is why aviation continuously gets better, because there's always lessons to be learned, and they don't take these events lightly. Crystal says that's why flying is the safest form of travel. It's true. It's true. So prayers going to all of them, just to all of them. It's just so sad. All right, people, listen. All I can say is that yes, people need to understand that, but occasionally there can be these tragic accidents that happen, whether it be in the car, whether it be on the railroad, whether it be in the air. There can be tragic accidents that happen, but we need to learn and do what we can to mitigate it, right? And whenever I fly with somebody who's nervous, I tell them the same thing, which is just like, you can run a red light and have an issue, right? Um, I'm not saying that pilots make mistakes constantly, but a pilot is capable of making a mistake. An air traffic controller is capable of making a mistake. So there's human factors, there's mechanical factors, but as long as you work forward, look at this and say, how can we try to fix this from ever happening again just this way? As long as you're constantly trying to evolve, and the aviation community is very engaged in trying to constantly improve, constantly get better, constantly be safer. So to that point, um, as a traveling public, let's all sit comfortable knowing that the effort will be there to never let something like this happen again. Matt points out this is the first commercial fatality in 16 years in the U.S., and it's terrible. But yes, you're right. The first commercial, the first Part 121 crash in what, 16 years, as you mentioned, in the United States. Let's go 30, 40, 50 years. Let's see if we can keep that going even longer next time, and just sending all the prayers that we can to the victims. And so many are going to be touched by this. Yeah. So constant improvement is where it's at. All right. All right, listen. That's all I've got. We've got a beautiful stretch of weather. I've got an oil change to do today. So I'm going to go connect with Mr. Alex Elisi. Crystal says, I'm petrified of flying, but I love airplanes. That's how I got into it. I was terrified of flying. I had to learn about it. That's all we are, right? All right, listen, be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you all so much for hanging out for Coffee Talk. I'll see you tomorrow morning.